So you know how to code it here. You know how to code some pretty basic stuff, granted, but it's pretty good. But, well, what if, say, I wanted to maybe get something I could do multiple times? Well, then we have the for loop. But let's say this is a case. Let's say I wanted to print hello, and I just type it like this, and bam, hello. But what if I wanted to, say, do some complicated codes multiple times, like 3 times? So I would just do for int I equals 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus. And then maybe I'd just do something like, I don't know, cin I, cout I, and L with a chosen value. If thank you. Let's actually do int I here. Why? Because you don't have to always put I here. You can always put J actually. And J actually. You can put any value there. So int I, C, and I choose chosen value I. If I is greater or equal to 10, then no. Then gonna do is type in something called break. What this break function does is it breaks out of the current for loop. So even if there's something left to do in the for loop, if it reaches this part of the code, it immediately stops and goes to the next part. So now I have a code. Fantastic. It might not show anything, but if I type in something, well, and it was over, so it immediately quit. So if I put 9, 2, 5, see? Intriguing. But what if I wanted to, say, make me put a hi? Hi. What if I want to put something after, in between here, the same code, and here the same code? Well, I could just copy, paste, but it gets messy, because look how messy this is. So, what I want to do is actually want to compress it down into one single line of code that I can call anytime. This is called a function. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep this here. Above main, I want to type in void function. You can put void your function name. So this is where your function name is going to go. So, and this becomes important later. So make it relevant to what this function does. So I'm going to type in I choose. Next I want to put some brackets. And there. Now let's say for I choose, we want, no. Let's say this is basic. So I choose. So void I choose, that's a function. Now, one thing you want to know is there's something called function scope. What's a function scope, you may ask? Well, if I choose, well, it'll come into play later, but if I choose what's below here, main, what will happen is, like, the code will go something like this. So that, you're gonna use that, okay, you gotta, okay, that's the code, that, pause. Okay, wait, now define what this is. But if I were to call it somewhere here, they would be like, error, what is this? So it doesn't know. But if you really want to keep it down here, for simplicity's sake maybe, you'll just need to put void the function name up here and with a semicolon. This tells the code. Okay. Oh, okay, I should probably go to where this is defined. Up here it is. Okay, now let's continue. You see, that's what it does. So I'm going to actually keep it like this. So, I choose, inside of here, we're just going to have this code. So this is what's going to happen whenever I choose this called. But what does happen? How do we call I choose? Well, it's simple. I choose. So, no need for void here, as you're not defining it. So now, if I run it, look at that. It does the exact same thing as before. And the best part is, previously we had to probably put more than this many. We had to put more than 15 lines. But now look at this. I just copy and paste it. And look at this. It does the exact same function. Cool, isn't it? Now, what if we wanted to have another function called maybe a function that, let's brainstorm a function quickly. I'm going to make a function that takes one value, takes the other value, adds them up, and gives it back. That seems a little hard, doesn't it? Well, not this time. As we can't use a void for this, because now we're using int add. Now, what does this int do? Why do we put void up here but int down here? Well, for void, this is actually not what it is. It's defining what are you going to give back when it's called. Since I choose doesn't give anything back, we put it as void. So void is nothing. It will give back nothing. So we don't have to do anything. But for add, since it's defined as going to give back something, we're going to have to give that something go somewhere. Another thing we need to do is add int number 1, int number 2. What's this do? Oh gosh, it's been a long time. Oh, well, never mind. What does this do? Well, these are values. They have no absolute value whatsoever, but they don't need any. I'll explain later why I put that there. Just put it there for now, and I'll explain later why they're there. So I'm going to say return number 1 plus number 2. If you watched the previous video, you'll know that we should be getting an error because these aren't defined. But we don't. I'm gonna prove it. I'm going to define it right up here. And also, when you define it, you also have to put anything inside the brackets. I'm going to prove it. Look, the code ran successfully, no errors. Bam. Now, why did I put add here? Well, I'm going to do a int num1, int num2, and cn num1, cin num2. I'm going to also put a cout bonjour, which is hello in French, if you don't know. Whatever, I just felt like it. What it just does is I'm then going to call add, the function add, simply. Which you might notice is giving me an error. Too few arguments? What's that mean? Well, first off, there's two errors I'm doing bad. First off, since it's returning something, that returned value needs somewhere to go. So I'm giving it... So I'm going to store whatever's the result in a variable named result. The second thing is that... what is this? Well, it's asking for values. Since I didn't define any values here, which you're not supposed to, it's asking, what are these? Like, what are these? What are these? It's asking that. What are these? Now, if you wanted to know what are these, we're going to give it to it. We're going to give it. Now you can't make this. Like, say this is an integer. You can't make this a boolean or a true or false and I expect it to work. No. You have to be the same values. So what is this going to do? Well, it's going to take add and it's going to give the value of whatever's in num1 to number1, whatever's in num2 to number2. Makes sense? It's a little hard to grasp, but I recommend you practice this. And then it's going to use this to add this up, and bingo, you're going to have good code. Let's test it out. This is going to be a very long video. Oh yeah, we've seen this. Well, do we need to really see it again? Okay, so now we're in here. I'm going to add 5 plus 8. And if you don't know, 5 plus 8 is 13. Ah, what happened? Well, it's simple. We didn't actually give it. We didn't tell it to print it to a screen. So what is there to print? Like it's done. It doesn't need to print it. So 8 plus 5 is 13. Look at that. It worked. It worked. Look at that. So with this, you're going to start seeing some pretty good stuff. And with the functions covered, in the next video, we'll be covering what this is. And after we cover what this is, you're going to have your next challenge. But be warned that after that challenge, things are going to get a little difficult. So you better revise on the previous videos before entering the challenges, entering the next section. Anyway, subscribe to me if you want to see more coding videos, or if you're more into gaming, I have those too. And if you like this, press the like button, and I'll see you all in the next video.